chosen ones, empaths. The narcissist has very backward thinking, okay? And they don't seem to realize our value till it's too late. Now, you could have possibly gone through a brutal discard, right? Where they devalued you, made you feel like you're not wanted, you're not needed, that they don't need anything from you, right? And you've seen them just push you away after this whole relationship that you two shared, during the love bomb and all the rest of it, and they're future faking and promising you the world. It's crazy how the narcissist begins to revalue you after discarding you. It's very common that the narcissist begins to revalue the previous supply. And I would say the main reason why they revalue us in general is because we're chosen, is because we're empaths. You see, they might not revalue every previous supply. There might be the odd thing that they preferred about an old supply or something like that. But when it comes to being chosen and empathetic, we're a cut above the rest. And I know people will say, oh, that's narcissistic, Zion, because you're saying we're cut above the rest. We are a cut above the rest. There is some evil people in this world. Some disgusting, despicable creatures in this world that wish nothing but harm on fellow man. And when you've got someone like us who tries to do the best they can, we're not perfect, we know that, but we try to do the best we can, and we're full of love and care, and we're courteous and we're kind, and we don't want to harm other people. When you've got a type of individual like I've just mentioned, which is us, someone who really has, where reciprocity between two people would be great. If there was two people like us, there'd be so much reciprocity, we would reciprocate what each other are saying. But it's a shame that we end up getting tied in with these toxic individuals. But the reason why I say we're a cut above the rest is because majority of this world is toxic. They're narcissistic, they're psychopaths, they're ill individuals. They wish harm on others. They copy friends just because their friends doing something. There's so much murder and bloodshed and horrible things that happen, crimes that happen across the globe. And if we're from a tribe of people that don't partake in that kind of activity, then I believe we're a cut above the rest and we've been chosen. And that's why I say, if you're an empath, try to work on your empathetic abilities and enhance those. It will happen naturally. After a discard, after you get the awakening, it will happen naturally. But while you're on your journey of healing, you're coming to terms with the ending of the relationship, you're getting on your journey, you're healing, the narcissist is actually analyzing you from a distance, and they're beginning to revalue you. And I mean even analyzing you in the dimensions of their mind, thinking about you. You're very prominent in their minds. And they're beginning to compare you to the new supply. And they realize that you're something special. You're something different. And they start to remember the beginning days of the relationship between you two. And they start to think, how did I get myself in this situation? They don't really self-reflect as such. But they'll start to think, they'll know they made a bad move on the chessboard, because everything's a game with them, and they know they made a bad move. They made a bad move on the chessboard, and somehow they want to try figure out a route back to you, which is not always easy, especially if we're on our healing journey and we've had enough and we've door slammed, bolted and welded it shut. It's not easy for them to come back. So they begin to revalue you from a distance, and checking in on your social media will start to become an obsession. Even if you've blocked them, they use various accounts. They don't just use their main account to contact old suppliers. They use various accounts, fake profiles. They use various accounts, so be aware of that. And it will start to become an obsession where they're checking in on you. They're checking in on you as if you was a friend. You know, the way that you would check in on a friend's social media, or you're checking on a friend by a phone call or something like this. They'll start to check in on you and start to say like, and start to wonder what life would be like if you two are back together. And it becomes a fantasy that they can't fulfill. Please, as long as you've door slammed, bolted and welded it shut, this is when they get the harsh awakening. If you've left your door open, I will just touch on this, but if you've left your door open for them to walk back in willy-nilly whenever they like, they will begin to revalue you, but they'll think, nah, I can carry on here for the moment. I'll carry on here for the moment. You know, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. I can always go back to them whenever I want. That's why I say it's crucial that you enforce no contact, door slam. And if you do say anything to them, make sure it's negative. Don't give them no positive supply. You know, that's why I know sometimes we have to get our closure. Sorry, there's a little bug here. They like to get... I've lost my trail of thought now. But basically, if you give them any supply, make sure it's a negative one. Don't give them no positive supply. This is what I was going to say. Sometimes saying a few words to them during the last days of the entanglement can be our closure. So saying a few words during the last days can be our closure. For me, it was my closure. For me, saying what I said during the last days of the ending of the relationship, what I got to say was my closure, and it was what I had to go by. But the narcissist, they do revalue you. You become a figment of their imagination, something that they can't get their hands on. It's not tangible, and they desire you back. They really do desire you back, and you've just got to make sure that you're strong, you're headstrong, you're spiritually focused, mentally focused, not to allow this disgusting, despicable weirdo back into your life, right? Because as long as you've got the tools in place... Sorry, it started raining. I'm trying to put my jacket on. As long as you've got the tools in place... As long as you've got the tools in place, right, where you've door slammed, bolted and welded it shut, this blocks them from having access to you, and it enhances the re-idolization, the revaluing, in other words, right? They re-idolize you. You become an idol to them. You become that person that no one can compare to. You become that person that they wish they never made the mistake of letting you go. And they do think this stuff, right? This is why if you read through the comment section, you'll see it. You know, people have had hoovers after 10 years, crazy amounts of time. You know, I've heard of stories where someone's been with someone for a short period of time and they're getting hoovers years later. It's because our energy is unmatched. As empaths, as chosen ones, our energy is unmatched and they can't find it anywhere. It doesn't matter where they search for. So the only thing they're left to do is re-idolize you in their mind. And you become an obsession that they check in on through their social medias, as I said before. You become this obsession that they have this obsession with you, right? Like the narcissist in my life, you know, trying to lure me out and contact me from fake profiles very recently. And I made a video about it. You've heard me talk about it. You know, it's because they want any remnants of supply from you because you're so potent, right? Because you're so potent, they don't care if they're talking to you from a fake profile or whatever. They don't care if they're calling you from a false number. You know, if they can just hear your voice, they'll be breathing down the other end of the line, just listening to you speak. You know what I mean? And they're getting off on it. They're proper weirdos, man. They're dusty little weirdos, and just know it's because you're such a rarity in this world, which causes them to revalue you. And this is why I want you to know this is important. And if you continue on your healing journey and you continue building your value after the relationship, which is what I've done, it's what numerous other survivors have done, I know if this is early days, you're going through the pain, you're going through the trauma bond, but you'll overcome that. I promise you, you'll overcome that. And you start to work on building your value back up. You start to work on building yourself back up. You start to go into different ventures in life, different work things. You know, you might go and work in another. I worked in another country. That was a stripe, you know, that I gained. You know, like working in another country, I would have never done that with the narcissist. Opening other businesses, things like this. I'd done all of these things. And it basically builds my value up, right? And it will build your value up too, to where, while they're still worried and thinking about how they're caught up on us before, when it finally comes to the time when they catch up on you, because they're scanning your social medias, they're scanning all platforms to check for you, they're scanning dating sites, they're scanning everything, right? When it comes to them that you've actually enhanced and you've got better than you was when you was with them, this is like a wound that, this causes them a deep, harsh, narcissistic injury, you know. So you're even better than you was when you was with them. And meanwhile, they're still same old same, changing who they are for whatever supply they're around, pretending they've got likes and interests of one kind when they're with us, and then pretending they got likes and interests of another kind when they're with another supplier. They've got nothing of their own, you know. They got no actual character of their own. They're like social chameleons, right? So just understand that the reason that this re-idolization or revalue, however you want to call it, is coming up after the discard is because of how much you're worth. Right? And if you understand that the narcissist is going through this in their mind, you might not have heard from them for some time now, but they're going through this in their mind. So all you need to get busy with is continue building on your value, right? You're educating yourself on these channels and other channels alike, right? You're educating yourself. You're learning more about the narcissist. I spent a long period of time studying, trying to understand the behavior, and I never used to get the answers from certain channels, because they portray the narcissist as this infallible creature that can't be touched and they're unmatched, right? But I knew what I knew, and that's what encouraged me to kind of get my message out on YouTube, right? To help you understand, because I was dealing with a real spiritual narcissist, I believe. You know, one that portrays themselves as very godly, and on the other hand, they're nothing but a devil. And because I was dealing with all of these Hoovers, and I didn't know they were Hoovers at the time, but I dealt with so many Hoovers, it was clear to me, I knew, before I knew the word Hoover, I knew that they regret what they've done. I knew this. And you lot are going through the same experiences as well, getting calls in the middle of the night. You know, they may be with their new supplier. That's why they're calling you in the middle of the night, you know. But I would advise you just to block them, you know, change your number if you can, totally cut contacts. Because if you want to cause some harsh narcissistic injuries, that's what you need to do. And I've made a video about how the silence torments the narcissist. You know, I've made a video on that if you want to check that out. But just understand that you're worth something. You're really worth something, you know. You're very special in the eyes of God, or the eyes of the universe, however you want to call it, right? You're very special. You're one of a kind, you know. In a room full of 100 people, you'll stand out. Now, I'm not saying you're going to stand out because of the way you look, or because of this, or because of that, but because of your energy, with the way you look, with the way you are. It's all about your energy. Your energy is unmatched. And this is what this channel is made for. People that are empathetic. We're able to really converse with people quite well, right? And we do mirror as well. We do mirror the narcissist. And this is what causes the narcissist to discard us in the first place, which I've made videos on that early on in the journey if you want to check that out. You know, we actually caused the discard, as well as God causing the discard, like I say, the divine intervention. But we really can converse quite well with people. We can really get to the core of people. And if you get to the core of the narcissist is a miserable, low self-esteem. I'm not making fun of anyone with low self-esteem because it can affect all of us, right? But the narcissist acts like they're God's gift, right? But it's after this discard. This discard is the most beautiful thing that can possibly happen in the world, because it actually gives the time, and it gives the narcissist a chance. For the first time throughout the duration of the relationship, they never realized it. They took you for granted. It's only after the discard when they fully idolize you and revalue you. They fully understand what they're missing out on. And it only happens after a discard, or it happens after you cut them off. I should have mentioned that earlier on, because it's the same thing. Even if you cut them off because they cause you so much pain and stuff like that, you know, it happens in different time sequences. You know, if you cut them off, they'll get a harsh awakening straight away. If they discarded you, at first they feel liberated, they feel free, they feel happy. But then very quickly on, they start to realize that we're totally different to the new supply. And they start to do the revalue process, and they start revaluing us after the discard. Okay? But I just want you to understand that you're very special. You've got to understand this. Be grateful for the human being that you are. Be grateful for what God has bestowed you in abundance of blessings. Count your blessings. I promise you that those seeds that you sowed when you were with the narcissist, they're not wasted. They're not wasted. They will manifest themselves and come back into your life in other ways that you would never expect them to. I've seen it happen in my life, you know. I thought, you know, I poured all this love into the narcissist. It was wasted. I've seen it come back into my lives in other ways, right? You know, just in blessings in other ways in my life when I, you know, just, and I'm not saying it happened romantically neither. I'm not saying just because I poured love into this individual over here, I found someone who's deserving of love over here. No, if anything, I'm being very choosy when it comes to who I let into my life now. Very, very choosy. Because I already made a dreadful mistake. And I don't want you to make a dreadful mistake through bouts of loneliness either. Right? Bouts of loneliness affect all of us, right? But the longer that you go on this healing journey, the longer you take time out. And I've spoke about celibacy and semen retention in other videos. Channeling your sexual energy into other areas of your life. Sexual energy is one of the most potent forms of energy. So if you harness that energy and transmute it into other areas, whether you want to go to the gym or you want to focus on business or sport or whatever it might be, you'll realize that you channel this energy into other areas and manifest things in other areas. Right? So while you're doing all of this stuff, right, building yourself back up again, rebuilding yourself, the narcissist can't believe their eyes that you're becoming even higher in value than they anticipated. You know, and that's the journey you want to take. You want to become untouchable. We lowered the bar to be with the narcissist. We lowered the bar, didn't we? We can collectively agree we lowered the bar, right? But now it's about us raising that bar. So if we do let anyone in our lives in the future, they need to be a special kind of someone. We can't just settle. There's no settling going on around here. Settling in a relationship is the worst kind of thing to do. And especially getting into a relationship when you're not healed, right? Remember, we're victims of abuse, right? And victims of abuse, it takes time to heal, right? There's no linear path of healing. It's you know, it's ups and downs, and you know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. But we're victims of abuse, so we're always gonna have the memory of what happened to us with the narcissist because we went through an abusive experience with the narcissist. It's not our fault, okay? It's not our fault that happened. It's not that we were naive. It's that we met someone and we tried to pour forth our love, and all of that love and purity that we offered. This is what actually destroys the narcissist going forward, because we become something they can't have. We become that one thing in the world they can't have. And this is the revaluing part, right? So even though they discarded you, believe you me, they're revaluing you. Give it a couple of weeks after a discard. I'm telling you, if you go quiet, you go ghost, you go no contact. If you've made the mistake and you've reached out, don't worry. We've all been there. They knew we was going to reach out and try and repair and rekindle the relationship. They knew us so well. They studied us so well. They studied us and thought they knew us so well. But they wasn't ready for us how we're going to bounce back, right? We bounce back stronger than an elastic, right? We don't lose elasticity when we bounce back neither. You know, we took a knock, but we bounce back stronger than ever. And we take it in our stride. And we use what's happened to our advantage. We use this negative experience that we've encountered to our advantage, and it molds us. So leave them weeping over the loss of you, right? Leave them comparing you to other suppliers, and you're unmatched. They're never going to find another you. They can search high and low, far and wide. They're never going to find another you. And just for the people that say in the comment section, what about if they find another empath? Just like when they was with us early on in the days, they weren't actually appreciating the blessing of having an empath in their lives, and they were probably still messaging their ex and playing numerous games with their ex, like posting pictures of us to make their ex angry. They weren't realizing our value at the time neither. It takes till after the ending of the relationship for them to finally realize what we are. And remember, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So the more distant you are, the less available you are, the more you build on yourself, the more you develop yourself spiritually, physically, mentally, and you get on this healing journey, the more and more and more the revaluing takes place. And the more and more the revaluing destroys them to their core, okay? It destroys them to their core, seeing you bounce back, being stronger than ever. So keep going. Don't lose faith. Trust the plan. And know this was a divine intervention sent by the Most High or the universe that causes separations to take place. Because no longer were you going to be tormented by this narcissist. So don't worry. It's never too late, right? It's never too late. It's never too late. I've heard stories from a subscriber, their dad was with a narcissist for 20 or 30 years, and it wasn't until he was in his 70s that he found his new partner, and that's his soulmate now, and they travel the world together and they're happy. So don't worry, it's never too late. You know what I'm saying? We don't look at it as wasted time. Look at it as it corrected our mind, right? It's not wasted time. It corrected our mind. We've got a better way of thinking now. We've got a more analytical side of viewing. We've got a better understanding of how the complexities of the situation work. So just understand that a narcissist, wherever they are, is revaluing you, and they are re-idolizing you, and they wish for you back. But don't give them any second chances. So anyway, thank you for watching today. Please press the like and subscribe button. If you would like to donate to the channel, you can find a link in the description box. And if you would like a one-to-one session with myself, you can also find a link in the description box. Currently, I have the secondary channel, the spiritual channel. If you want to check that out, the link for that channel is also in the description box. So anyway, I'll be back with another video soon. Peace.